Well, there's a thought. It occurs to me. To put it in a crazy suggestion, the sun seeds life. We think of sunlight as simply nurturing existent life so that it can produce, chlorophyll or something like that in the plants. Whatever. Or use the chlorophyll to produce sugar. Yeah, might be that, yeah. But now suppose something different. Supposing the sun itself radiates life. Can I say, a bit too figuratively, but well, a bit like, the way fish spray out sperm, the male. And he doesn't have to be in the female. That's not happening. He just rubs against her and plays, so to speak, and releases the sperm, and she's fertilized. Well, not even her, just the eggs she's laid. Massive, I've forgotten what you call it. Masses of eggs sticking to the plants and so on. And he, because he sees her and perhaps laying the egg stuff. Sorry, I can't think of the word. I think I mean the substance of the roe in a fish. The result is life. Yes, that's the word, spawn. She lays egg spawn and he fertilizes it. Well, what if the planets, the Earth, matter, fairly lifeless matter in a way, in the universe, but it's not lifeless, is it? It's absolutely charged with energy and, it's a seething mass of motion at phenomenal speeds and so on. Electron particles, supposed movement and so forth. And the sun, let's say she for a moment, radiates life, fertilizes the spawn, the matter, and it brings forth life at, well, whatever level of sophistication life is, which might not be, it's a bit like before. We used to think of the simple human cell, and when we actually were able to study it more closely, we realized it's anything but simple. It's the most fantastic, intricate setup you could imagine. Perhaps the sun is doing likewise this. So it's not that you have to wait for trillions of years for the universe to produce the right situation for some primitive life form to come about by chance, supposedly, in that sort of non-God way of thinking, but simply sunlight, the amazing energy generated, radiating out, causes life at some, well, relatively undeveloped level, or even any life to be benefited by such. we think of, in a sense, the sun giving us life because it gives us the energy for life. We can't live without it. And it's life that comes as a consequence of the male and the female coming together, at the cellular level. I suppose I'm thinking possibly of the sort of thesis of liyftronz again. That we receive life, a continual input of life, every day, from the food we eat, the sunlight we receive, the air we breathe. We're receiving life. And without doing such, we die within a few months. In fact, some kinds of input, like the air and the water, air, we die within a few minutes if the supply is cut off. I mean, we are incredibly dependent, aren't we, on air for life. And similarly, water or fluids, water in the form of juice or water, and food more generally. And I hold it sunlight too, that we don't flourish if we don't get enough sunshine. So that the earth, any planet, brings forth some response to the liyftronz scattered on it by the star, nearest star. How much it develops depends on, all sorts of things, of the egg that receives it, the structure that receives the life. I don't think I've reduced the female side of things to what we think of as dead matter. I'm still saying different configurations of matter receiving the sperm, if you like, the liyftronz, develops accordingly. And that perhaps the liyftronz streaming down on us from the sun are of extremely varied composition. Every one unique, perhaps even. But similar characteristics, of course, waves of such. I don't mean this idea gets us very much further in anything in particular, but just interesting imagination, really. Leave it at that. Thank you, Heavenly Dad.